Hey gorgeous, welcome back to today's topic, which is about how to self-coach yourself successfully when you are feeling frozen, trapped, and even maybe a little bit overwhelmed. I speak to so many women who feel trapped, they feel overwhelmed, stuck, they are fed up putting other people first and watching the world go by from the sidelines. They're fed up of playing small and worrying about what other people think and recognize that it is now time to put themselves first. Maybe that sounds familiar to you. If it does, don't worry. You are absolutely not alone. It is more common than you think. People having that sense of overwhelm, stuckness, watching life go by from the sidelines. You're in the right place. I'm going to talk you through my strategy, my process for helping you to successfully self-coach yourself and for you to get unstuck quickly, get into momentum and create an extraordinary life so you can achieve more than you ever thought possible. If we're not careful, we can spend a great deal of our time and energy focused in on the wrong things. What we want to do is to move more into a self-conscious way of being. This way we can identify very quickly what is getting in our way and what's keeping us emotionally stuck. Before I learned how to self-coach myself, I was so shocked about how I was keeping myself stuck in this loop of behavior that just was not working for me. That's my cat getting excited at playing with a cardboard box. So if you're wondering what those noises are, it's not my stomach, it's the cat. He's up on one. Yeah, as I said, I was amazed at how I was getting in my own way, how I was playing so small. It wasn't until I started self-coaching consistently, making that sacred space to really reflect, go deep inside and find out what was going on, did I fully understand the extent of how I was sabotaging my success. And I see this a lot with the women that I work with. Now, let me tell you, this is regardless of age. Limiting beliefs, self-doubt, that stuckness, the not knowing does not hit one particular age that you are at. It doesn't matter whether you are 15 or whether you are 85. If you haven't dealt with the emotional issues in terms of what's keeping you stuck and understand what's playing out and how to let that go and move forward, then what happens is you just stay in a loop, you stay in repeated behavior and you get exactly the same result, guaranteed. When I think about my own loop and how I would get stuck when I was sabotaging myself, it really showed up for me because I run a business. One of the skills you obviously need to run a business is to be visible. What I discovered though from the self-coaching journey was that I had a fear of being visible. I had a fear of being successful. Of course, that impacted on my business. It wasn't generating the results it should have been generating. That's because I was purely getting in my own way. I had some blocks which I hadn't addressed emotionally. When I started to self-journal, I learned very quickly what it is that I needed to do to get unstuck, to move that sense and level of frustration where I just felt I was watching everybody else be successful other than myself or doing more things in their life, and I was just watching from the sidelines. But it wasn't until I really started to dig deep and explore one layer at a time did I really get a sense of, this is where I get stuck. This is why I'm frozen. I felt disconnected. Everything felt like much hard work. It was much harder than it should have been. And I kept going around and round in circles and felt stressed out, overwhelmed, unfulfilled, and left with that horrible question of, am I really cut out to do this? I was spending an awful lot of time playing business and life out in my head rather than putting myself in the game. And that was because I had a barrier around being successful and being visible. Maybe you can relate to what I'm sharing. Maybe you feel a little bit vulnerable to be visible. Maybe you're worried about what other people are going to say about you. You're finding yourself just stuck in an energetic loop and not getting where you want to be. You're not getting anywhere fast. Let me know in the comments box. I would love to know what you feel is getting in the way of your success. Here's the thing, when you start successfully self-coaching, the world will change around you. The door will open up to new possibilities and opportunities. You will be able to step into being able to receive more. That means that your life and things around you are going to change because you're now seeing life from a fresh perspective, which you haven't been able to get insight into before. Self-coaching is incredibly powerful because it's going to be working with your own personal intuition. There is no right or no wrong answer. I'm going to talk to you in a little bit about the way I work to be able to get myself and keep myself in momentum. You'll feel more connected, be able to make quicker, much smarter, more informed decisions. You'll easily be able to take inspired action, and you'll also be able to dump what isn't working for you and to really get focused in on what it is that you need to do to move yourself forward. When I realized I was the problem and I started to self-coach myself, I haven't looked back since. The fear I was hanging on to, the sense of being a victim because of not wanting to be seen as being successful or being highly visible, was keeping me trapped, keeping me stuck, frozen, not being able to move forward and progress. Do you ever find yourself doing things on repeat? You're doing them time and time again. You might be doing them slightly differently, but you're getting exactly the same results and you just feel frustrated. It's because you haven't quite understood or got underneath of what is really keeping you stuck. The self-coaching process is going to help you navigate your way out as quickly as possible. Let me know what you do on repeat in the comments box. That would be really interesting to find out, and I'm sure it will also help other people who are watching this video. Self-coaching is incredibly powerful because it's not a cookie cutter formula. It starts from the problems and the challenges that you are willing to take a look at and to go underneath the skin of. So self-coaching starts from a position of where you're at. If you don't invest time, money and energy into really understanding and clearing out those old beliefs, old patterns of behavior, then it's going to be much more challenging for you to move forward and to step into taking inspired action. Because what's going to happen is you'll think you're focused in on the right thing, but actually you're not. You are just working with what's appearing at surface level. We need to get underneath the skin of what is really playing out for you. This is why self-coaching is so powerful, because it meets you exactly at where you are at, and it's not a cookie cutter formula to success. To get into the awesome energy, to get into a high level of motivation, you need to embrace self-coaching with an open heart, an open mind. This isn't a space to be critical. It's not a space to beat yourself up. This is a safe space for you to start to explore and take a closer look at what is really going on. Here's what you're going to need for your self-coaching ritual. You're going to need a journal, a couple of pens. You want to come into the space with compassion, love, no judgmental, no sinking thinking, no criticism of yourself. This is a nice, clean space that you can create. So you want to find a space that you can not be distracted, just have 15 minutes to yourself, where you can start to explore what's been holding you back. Now, there are just two other things that you need. One is to be able to ask inquisitive questions, and the other is to step into your higher self when you are self-coaching. Now, if you don't know how to step into that great energetic space, just click the link below and you'll be able to access a video which I talk about how to step into your higher self. Two things you need then: inquisitive questions and being able to step into your higher self. So when you are self-coaching, you want to come at it from two perspectives. You want to come at it from your higher self in terms of the very best version of yourself, and the other perspective is you in the here and now with all the baggage, with all your history, with whatever it is that's tripping you up, keeping you stuck, keeping you frozen. Then you can use your higher self to ask those inquisitive questions to draw out more information. So the first thing, 2 different coloured pens. The second thing, you want to have a journal. The third thing, you want to be open to ask inquisitive questions. And the fourth thing is about stepping into your higher self. And don't forget, you want to create a nice, safe space where you can start your self-coaching ritual. So how do we start? Very simply, we start with a question from your higher self to the person you are in the here and now. It could go something like, "Hey love, how are you doing? I know it's been a tricky couple of days." So that question is coming from the higher self. So when you're writing from your higher self, you want to pick which color pen it is that you want to use, stick with that particular color. And then when you are writing back to yourself, you want to pick another color. What we want to do is create a level of emotional space so we can release the negative energy that it is that we've been hanging on to for some time. When you are consciously self-coaching this way and you are switching between your higher self, who only has your best interests at heart, and the person who's experiencing what's going on in the here and now, that can feel very heavy. It's a heavy energy. So if we create that distance between who we are in this current moment and stepping into our higher self, it gives us the opportunity to release some of that energy it is that we have been holding on to that's ultimately keeping us blocked from achieving whatever it is that we want to achieve. So you've asked your first question and then you've answered that question. Next, once you've finished answering the question, you want to just tap back into your higher self again, and she will naturally ask you the next question. Now, there is no right, no wrong question. Remember what I said earlier about these questions need to be inquisitive. They come from the heart. They are not judgmental. They are not critical. They are just inquisitive questions to get underneath the skin of what is actually going on, what it is that you need to take a look at to be able to get out of your own way and stay out of your own way, so you can develop a deeper connection with self and really get to know yourself better, what's triggering you, what's keeping you stuck. It's also a great way to self-mother yourself, to give yourself some compassion. This all creates an amazing experience, a safe space for you to openly share with yourself what is really going on. The more you practice self-coaching this way from your higher self to who you are in this moment, the quicker you are going to be able to break free of what is limiting you. So you're going to be able to achieve more than you ever thought was possible. So keep asking yourself questions until what happens is that you've had the conversation with yourself. It will naturally come to an end. You won't need to keep just asking yourself questions for the sake of it. You will naturally come to an end in the conversation. So when you've come to the end of the conversation, what you want to do is you want to acknowledge and say thank you to, from your higher self to the person you are in this moment. Acknowledge and say thank you to for sharing that insight, that pain, the emotion it is that they are experiencing. And also the other way around. So you are, in effect, bringing the two together. So acknowledge the journey between yourselves, acknowledge the conversation between yourselves. Then what you want to do is you want to think of, actually, what's the inspired action that I need to take? What's the right action for me? Now, don't make this too big. You want to have something that is realistic to achieve. It could just be a very, very small step in the part of a bigger thing that you need to unravel. What you want to do is just note down some inspired action that you can take that will help you deal with what needs to be dealt with first. We are not looking here to resolve everything in one go. Because when you start self-coaching this way, you're going to find that you're going to go down multiple layers of stuckness, frozen, what's been tripping you up. So you want to make sure that you have an inspired action to take. Just don't make it too big. Don't make it unrealistic. Don't create something where it's just going to push you into resistance. This is little steps, baby steps, to help you get unstuck and to start moving. If you're self-coaching 3 times a week, you're going to be able to clear out things very quickly and to move forward very quickly, which is great because it means that you are stepping more into your higher self. You're not coming from the past. You're not stuck in that victim type behavior. Self-coaching will open up and show you exactly what it is that you need to do next. So if you've tried everything else, if you've tried the courses and it's still not working, if you're investing money with coaches and it's still not working, it's time now to actually sit down and have a proper conversation with yourself using this self-coaching technique. You have finished that self-coaching session for the day. What you're doing is you're just filtering out the information from your mind that you haven't necessarily looked at before, or maybe you have and you just need to get a fresh perspective on it. Close your journal, pop it away, just think about the inspired action it is that you need to take. You don't need to dwell on what it is that you have written. Also, don't worry if your handwriting is really scruffy. Sometimes the more scruffy my handwriting is, the more illegible it is, the better experience it is that I've had. Let me know how you get on. This is an incredibly powerful process that I have personally designed, that I teach my clients, that I use on a daily basis. So I self-coach myself every day. It's why I am out living this amazing life in Thailand, because I can identify and consistently navigate my way through difficult emotions, difficult situations. I can come out the other side. I was going to say smelling of roses, but maybe not. So yeah, let me know how you get on. Pop in the comments below if you've got any questions. I will be more than happy to answer them for you. If you have anyone in your network who is really struggling emotionally, then please do share this video with them. I think it will really help to create that space for them to go inside and to self-reflect. It's a great way to nurture oneself if you're feeling, you know, your mental health or your emotional well-being has taken a bit of a battering. Until next time, remember, you can achieve more than you ever thought possible.